Hi, I'm Joe Manganiello, and I'm going to be talking to you about my weirdest role. My weirdest role was on a television show called American Heiress, and I think we shot somewhere around like 60 or 68 episodes of this show that was an American translation of a South American telenovela. So they got these telenovelas, they brought them to America, and then they sicked a team of translators that were going to transcribe all of the Spanish into English, and which provided situations where you had dialogue like, you know, how's your sister's love interest? Like, you mean boyfriend? Like, the words weren't right. There were no directors of photography. There was no one lighting. They would set up lights at the beginning, and then they would just leave, and we were left to shoot like 68 episodes with this like flat lighting. There were no producers on set to settle arguments, and especially like there were no translators on set helping to figure out what didn't get translated properly. And it was like inmates running the asylum. Nothing made sense. There was no direction. No one was paying attention to us. It was one of those jobs you take just so you can buy a new car at the end and like get up and go to work every day. So I quickly realized no one cares and no one's paying attention. So I noticed that there were scenes. Everything was also shot like in sequence. So we had to shoot all of the restaurant out. Everything in, well, I think it was 65 episodes. Every scene that takes place in a restaurant over 65 episodes, you're shooting in a row. Now, in the course of a day, they also didn't like to take time to switch lighting. So normally you get done with your coverage, they switch over to the other person and you finish the scene. Well, they would just shoot my coverage for the first half of the day for 16 scenes from 11 different episodes stretched over the 65 episodes. And then they would turn around and shoot the other person half of dialogue for 16 different scenes from 11 different episodes stretched over the 65. It was mind-boggling. It was insane. And so I noticed that we were shooting all the restaurant stuff, but then, we were shooting, we had to shoot the hallway, but then we were going to shoot the scenes in the office like 2 months later. So I was clean shaven, pretty like fair complected when we shot the hallway. So you see me walking down the hallway. Well, when I knew 2 months later we were going to shoot the office, I went tanning like heavily and for weeks. And anytime I needed a haircut, it was, Joe, let's have a haircut. I'm like, oh, let's do it tomorrow. And I would like duck out. And I would say, oh yeah, let's get it tomorrow. We'll get it tomorrow. And I just kept pushing that aside. And I didn't shave. So by the time we got to shoot the office scenes, it was me walking down the hallway, clean shaven, light skin, and then I would open the door, stick my head in, and it was this shaggy orange like creature that stuck his head into the office. And nobody ever saw those episodes because the show only aired like the first 11, I think, and then it got canceled, which I knew was going to happen. But my mom's seen them all, and she's witnessed the magic of my tanning escapade on American Heiress that no one else saw. And I got that new car, and it was awesome.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on and on and on.